Was this past weekend Subway Series the preview of the 2025 World Series? Let's talk all things New York baseball with our New York Post Yankees beat writer for the Post, Greg Joyce. Greg, thanks for hopping on with this. Some pretty strong games over the weekend, but I guess I got to talk about the whole Aaron Judge versus Juan Soto thing, but since these two are going to be linked and compared for the rest of their careers. They both didn't really do much. Under impressive would be a word I'd use. Who won? Judge versus Soto, part one.
Yeah, man, you have to go with Judge just because his team won two of three, which to him, he would tell you even if he went 10 for 10 that the wins are the most important thing, which is true. It was a good battle, like you said, two first place teams coming in playing well, but obviously all the attention was on Soto, who got a pretty uh hostile reception back in the Bronx all three games. So like you said, it was kind of a quiet performance for both. I think you got to give some credit to the pitching staffs. The Yankees obviously were pretty careful with Soto, but held him to 1 for 10 with four walks, which I think they would have signed up for that any day of the week. I think most people that have seen Juan Soto play, full season would have would have expected him to have at least one big moment during that series, like he seems to, rise to that occasion. The fact that he didn't really have that, I think it's, got to tip your cap at least in parts of the Yankees pitching staff for kind of keeping him down. But the Mets did the same thing with Judge. Obviously, they know how much of a threat he is. They were pretty careful with him, not letting him completely beat them. So it was kind of left up to the supporting cast around those guys, and obviously the Yankees, had the better of it this weekend.
You mentioned Soto not having a big moment, which we all kind of, like you said, we all kind of expected him to at least have one. That there's a fact that he didn't have a big moment this past weekend in the series and hasn't really had too many or as many as we were expecting in this early season. Does Brian Cashman deserve his flowers for the core four guys that he brought in after losing out on the Soto sweepstakes? Like, does this weekend officially show all of baseball that the Yankees are better off without Juan Soto?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously that'll be answered over the next few years. I mean, he's signed for 15 years, and obviously the Yankees are trying to sign for 16. So they would have loved to have Juan Soto. I don't think that's the. It's not like they're it's hard to say they're completely better off for not having him. He's one of the best players in the game, but through the first 40 plus games of this season, the way that they pivoted and the moves that they made in the aftermath of not getting Soto has worked out about as well as they could have hoped so far. Obviously, Cody Bellinger had a monster weekend. His bats really started to come around over the last few weeks, and to have his biggest series of the season against the Mets, that doesn't hurt. Paul Goldschmidt, he only had three hits in the series, but a couple big ones on Friday night, and also made a nice catch down the line. And he's been one of their best hitters, not named Judge, through the early going. Max Fried on Sunday night pitched his 6 innings of two-run ball, which for him was kind of like below his standards, given how he's pitched this year. And that's pretty good that's one of his poorer starts of the season, which is saying something. And Devin Williams, had two of his best outings of the season against these guys, both including at bats against Pete Alonso. So kind of exercising some demons there for him. He has looked better of late. So I think it went about as well as you could have hoped, as the Yankees could have hoped, for the guys that they acquired in the aftermath of not getting Soto. Obviously, they would have loved to have Soto. Is the reason they offered him $760 million. Didn't work out, but the moves they made have worked out pretty well so far. Obviously, we'll see what that all looks like when it's September and October, and you look up and see how it goes. I'd still expect Soto to do Juan Soto things over the course of a season, despite that quiet start, but. Yeah, it has worked out about as well as you could hope for the Yankees. They do have it is a deeper lineup that they have this year, more well-rounded, and obviously they wouldn't have been able to have all these pieces around Aaron Judge if they had signed Juan Soto to that deal. So it's worked out pretty well for him so far.
When you look back at the quality of baseball that was played in this series on top of the stacked rosters that both of these teams have, and they're both going to get some guys back healthy in the upcoming months. Do you think that this was a preview of the 2025 World Series, a rematch of 25 years ago?
Certainly possible, and you get a little taste of what that might be like. Like, I thought that the environment for these games was pretty good one. With Juan Soto come back, and it's just the reception that he got, the buzz around the stadium. I mean, it's good for any Subway Series, but this one obviously felt a little bit extra. And that's just that would just be a fraction of what it would be like if these teams ever met again in October. Obviously, a long way to go before then. The Dodgers might have something to say about that. A couple of other teams that could obviously stand in the way. Both have to get guys back and also keep their top guys healthy that are on the field now. They'll meet again, and I think it's July 4th weekend. So be interesting to see, how that one goes. Kind of a barometer of how the progress they made since then, who they get back and what they look like then. But yeah, you do get that sense of, a lot of guys talked about how this weekend kind of felt like a playoff atmosphere, and two good teams, two good pitching staffs that throwing the ball well. There's three good games really when you look at it. Saturday and Sunday were pretty similar. Late two games going into the late innings. So I thought it was for a Subway Series. This early in the season, I thought it was pretty good. But like I said, like you can only imagine what that would feel like in October. So long way to go, but it would be pretty cool if that happened.
Now we can get back to normal regular season baseball. Greg Joyce, thanks for hopping on with us.
You got it. Thanks, Brandon.